The ideal body. How do you imagine it? Probably many have now painted in their heads a beautiful...
People think broad shoulders and a tiny head. That's what people think. I think the ideal male body is 6'4", like 250 pounds, very wide frame, and like a head that kind of looks small. It's actually not a small head, but kind of looks small. That's what I hear.
Slender girl with blue eyes, chiseled waist, and long legs. Such a body is really attractive, although from
we literally saw it in your chat while Pokey was RPing on Rose. People revert to being sexist and intolerant for some whack-ass reason. I don't know if it's because they feel distant with the screen, but women aren't taken seriously by a lot of people in this community. What? What the fuck was happening with Pokey and Rust? What? Dude, what are you, like there is like probably 700,000 different examples you could have used instead of that one. Like how chat is constantly reverting to like Coomer anytime there's a woman on screen, shit like that. But the one instance that you are bringing up is such a weird one, and I didn't notice it at all, and I'm surprised.
Evolution. It's simply terrible. First, let's remove the girl's hair. Make the hips narrower. Shorten the legs. Slightly increase the size of her feet.
Peggy.
Reduce the size of the head. Remove a few extra organs, such as the appendix, and unnecessary muscles in the hands and tailbone. There it is, the ideal body. But you say, we just got an ugly woman. Don't rush to judgment. After all, this body type is ideal from the point of view of evolution. It's much more adapted to survival on our planet. Why? Let's figure it out. In fact, such a body is still far from ideal. The British anthropologist Alice Roberts, in her research, tried to create a model of the ideal person from the point of view of physiology. The result is a mixture of the elf Legolas from The Lord of the Rings, Mr. Tumnus from Narnia, and Krang, a villain with a brain in his stomach from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Here she is, the perfect woman. Let's start with her skin.
Make it stop! Burn it! Burn it with fire! Burn it with fire!
Over the years of our existence, mankind has adapted well to the climate. The skin of a white person who lives closer to the poles of the planet releases more vitamin D, while the skin of a dark person living in a tropical climate is protected from the sun's ultraviolet radiation. On the other hand, a light-skinned inhabitant of Scandinavia will burn in a few minutes under the scorching sun, and a person with darker skin will simply freeze in a cold climate without warm clothes. Alice suggests taking the skin from the giant squid.
Wait, is that even real? Is there like a legitimate difference? No, right? Is he using that as a fucking hypothetical or something? This is such a weird fucking video, dude. What the fuck? Dennis Prager is now making biology videos. I mean, it could be. Like there are minor differences, but it's not like super significant. The way that it's so minor that it's not. It's weird that he's using a fucking. It's weird that he's using a fucking white person on fire when he steps foot in Africa. Explain darker skinned Inuit tribes. I don't. Is that because of like the snow and ice reflecting UV rays or something? Is that why? Is that where that comes from?
SQUID. They know how to change their color depending on the situation. With this kind of skin, a person will be able to independently adapt their shade to different climates on Earth. Now we need to...
I like that he's like, white skin, black skin, dark skin. What about octopus skin? He defeated racism, okay? You guys thought he was being a race realist. Meanwhile, he's like beyond that. He's a specious realist, okay?
Replace the heart. A dog's would be perfect. In modern humans, there are two unconnected coronary arteries in the heart. If one of them fails, for example from a heart attack, the heart muscles connected to it are deprived of oxygen, and this can cause death. In dogs and guinea pigs, both arteries are connected. If the first one is blocked, the other takes over its function. Thus, the risk of dying from a heart attack is cut in half. Human ears are less than perfect. They contain hair cells that break down with age. Also, our eardrums become less elastic with age.
Also, I was thinking about it, it's like the darker your skin is, does it make it so that you're less tolerant to colder weather? But I'm the palest motherfucker on the planet, and I literally cannot tolerate a fraction of the cold. So how does that make sense? He's saying that. He was saying that earlier. I don't think that's like a real thing. Fucking hate the cold and I'm black. I absolutely hate the cold. I cannot survive the cold. It's too much.
Age resulting in hearing loss. Therefore, it's best to take the graceful and much more sensitive cat ears. Let's do something about the eyes, which also have several flaws. In the place where the optic nerve enters the retina, each of us has a blind spot. There are simply no light-sensitive receptors.
I find it very weird that people who prefer the cold over the heat are so fucking weird to me. It doesn't make any sense. It literally doesn't make sense. I don't know why. This is a matter of personal preference, I know, but it's so wild, dude. What are you guys doing, you fucking freaks? Huh? What is this? Like, oh, I love the cold. Like, what? So weird. So strange.
Finding your blind spot can be quite simple. Close your right eye, and with your left, look at the cross on the right, which is surrounded by a circle. Now, slowly move the screen closer or further away from your eyes. At some point, you'll notice that the cross on the left has disappeared. No, this is not an optical illusion. You just found your blind spot. Octopuses don't suffer from this weakness, so let's take their eyes. We'll also enlarge the eyeball to twice its size to add sharpness to the vision. So, we found the perfect eyes. Now, let's modify the legs. After all, they also have a lot of problems. For example, our complex and vulnerable knees and weak muscles. It's best to borrow legs from the emu. Then we can run fast and we'll have good cushioning. True, with such legs...
Wouldn't that literally eliminate throwing, though? Like, that kind of leg would eliminate the most significant part of our build as the zoo tier guy talks about all the time, which is our ability to balance ourselves and be able to throw stuff. So
it will be difficult to climb a mountain. To avoid the risk of suffocation from a slice of pizza that goes down the wrong pipe, you need to separate the throat from the airway. This is the structure of the throat of birds. Birds don't even know the word choke. The next step is to make child labor easier for women. For 9 months of gestation, the child has time to develop well, especially the brain. Due to the fact that the baby's head is quite large, complications may arise that are solved by a cesarean section. It's much more logical to give birth to a little one a few months earlier and carry the newborn in a bag on the stomach like a kangaroo does. And the most important thing is the back, so that it never...
I feel like this is the worst video I've ever watched on topics like this. And not because of like the black-white skin thing. Like just in general, it's pretty fucking pseudoscientific, dude.
gets hurt, you need to borrow the structure of the lower back and pelvis from a chimpanzee.
I mean, we gotta finish
we'll
it.
lose our posture forever, and a woman's waist will not be so attractive. But the load on the spine will decrease, and we will not have a need for a massage. So there we have it. We put together a work of art called The Ideal Human Being. If you're familiar with Darwin's theory, then you know that man descended from apes. Doesn't this suggest that evolution has straightened our backs because it's better this way? Well, Alice Roberts has just put together the most productive human model. But evolution is moving in a very different direction. To prepare for the evolutionary leap, we first need to get rid of the remnants of the past. I mean, organs that people still have from their ancestors, but are no longer needed for a normal life, the so-called rudiments. You probably have a couple of them. Try now to put your hand on a flat surface, palm up, and join your little finger with your thumb. See the weird tendon that appears on your wrist? This is the palmaris longus muscle. Previously, monkeys needed it to climb trees easier. A modern person doesn't need it. Interestingly, 15% of people do not have this muscle. If you're one of them, then you have a little less in common with the monkey than most. Congratulations, you've crossed this step of evolution and are confidently moving toward becoming superhuman. The tailbone is another rudiment of our bodies.
What did he say?
In fact, the coccyx is several tail vertebrae that fused into one. It's scary to imagine, but our ancestors had a tail. Even worse, such people are born today. In 2013, a boy with a tail was born in the Chinese province of Guangdong. But not everything is so bad. Modern doctors can remove an unnecessary organ by surgery. These are not all of the rudiments. For example, we still have the ear muscles that allowed us to direct our ears towards sounds in order to hear them better. True, evolution has decided that it's much easier to turn your head in the direction of the sound than to move your ears. Our wisdom teeth that our ape-like ancestors had made it easy.
Someone said Goku! Literally Goku! It wasn't as cute as I thought it would be. Why in the ever-loving fuck would you think a real tail on a real human being would be cute, brother? Why would you think that? Why would it be cute? It's literally nightmare fuel, dude.
Easier to chew on hard grains and coarse plant roots. When humanity began to consume meat widely and learned how to cook food, there was no longer a need for wisdom teeth. So
first of all, have you ever seen a fucking... Oh God, I gotta skip this. Hold on.
Can safely remove them at the dentist. Along with the change in diet, the need for an appendix...
This video is getting worse and worse. Oh,
Charles Darwin claimed was involved in the digestion of solid food disappeared. Now this organ doesn't play any role in our lives, although some scientists say there are some beneficial gut bacteria in the appendix. Also, when we had a lot of...
Okay, finally, a cute monkey. Have you ever seen a fleshy tail? Like even a horse's tail or just like a fleshy tail in general? It's always gross. It doesn't matter what the animal is. The only thing that makes a tail like palatable, I guess, is when it has like enough fucking fur or hair around it, okay? Fleshy tails have always been gross on every animal.
Body hair, we knew how to raise it in order to warn or frighten enemies. Now we don't have that much body hair, but we still have goosebumps. When we're scared
Speak for yourself, motherfucker.
or cold, the muscles of the hair follicles are stimulated by reflex, which is why we experience this effect. In the modern world, it has become practically useless. Now that we've gotten rid of any unnecessary organs, we can move forward towards evolutionary change. A person, even the laziest, doesn't stop developing. We ourselves don't notice it, but in
Do not Google hairless horsetail.
fact, we
Don't do
are
it.
evolving every day. Scientists at Yale University argue that immigration, globalization, and technological progress will force people to change in the foreseeable future. For example, the average height of a person has already increased by 10 centimeters in recent decades, but this is not the most significant change. If global warming continues, rising temperatures will cause people's skin to darken in order to protect us against solar radiation. Due to free travel around the world, races will mix, and soon it will be difficult to find someone with blue eyes and freckles. Faces will become more similar. Our brain, in comparison with Cro-Magnons, has become, oddly enough,
I don't like it.
smaller. This doesn't mean that we have become less intelligent. On the contrary, due to its compactness, the signal between neurons is transmitted faster. Therefore, the thinking of modern man is much more productive than that of our prehistoric.
This guy does not account that humans love inbreeding regardless of their race, okay? For some fucking weird reason, dude, I don't get it, but people love inbreeding, brother. Don't you worry. There will be people who preserve the sanctity of every race for some fucking weird reason. What does this man consider himself? Have him sit down with an anthropologist?
Historic ancestors. Most likely, the brain will continue to shrink. This means that our head will become smaller, which will allow women to give birth to offspring without complications and the need for an obstetrician. The hair that we're used to looking after is likely to leave us. Although it makes us more beautiful, which affects mate selection, it's not at all necessary for survival.
Yeah, like
With time,
racial purity, ironically, is just, you know, inbreeding with extra steps for the most part. Or at least like that kind of mentality has, like, purifying your bloodline mentality is literally the reason why there are unique genetic problems that you can identify within like the royal family, such as the Habsburg jaw. Most inbreeding is probably not consensual. What? The same thing with dogs?
our hands and fingers will become thinner. This is due to the fact that in the modern world, we are constantly developing our fine motor skills. For example, we type in a smartphone or play musical instruments, but the design of our legs can be simplified. The fibula, which serves to rotate the foot, is likely to change. Our ancestors needed it to deftly navigate the jungle. It only interferes with modern people because you can accidentally dislocate your leg. In addition to improvements, there may also be problems. People of the future will have weakened immune systems. This is due to the development of medicine and vaccines that have emerged to protect us from a variety of diseases. But by having vaccines, our immune system will rely only on them and will not be able to resist some disease on its own. When our immune system becomes weak enough, we may become slaves to medical technology. You might think that such changes would take millions of years. In fact, changes are taking place even today. In 2018, American endoscopists Petros Benius and David L. Carlock discovered the rudiment of a new organ. More precisely, they found cavities in places where there used to be dense connective tissue, previously unknown to science. They can contain up to 20% body fluid, which acts as a shock absorber. This fluid can also be a source of lymphocytes, which support immunity. According to New York University School of Medicine professor Neil Thies, study—
Is this real? I've never fucking heard this before. What the fuck? I feel like this video is just full of weird pseudoscientific shit, dude. This is literally complete bullshit. Like, human beings are like evolving and they found like a new patch for humans or something. Like, what the fuck? Check description for sources. Nice sources on the video. If you like this video, put a thumbs up button, please, and subscribe to the Riddle channel. We will make this universe smarter together. Okay, I gotta go. See you soon, dudes. Winky face. Man, if only I knew that this motherfucker put a winky face in his description, dude. I wouldn't have spent fucking 12 minutes and 23 seconds watching a video. My man put a winky face, dude. Put a fucking winky face in the description. The vinky. This strikes me as one of those. Strikes me as one of those like Russian troll farm fucking or not Russian troll farm, like one of those like Russian artificial intelligence copy pasta YouTube channels.
This substance will help us to understand the nature of cancer formation. If this turns out to be so, humanity will be able to defeat this terrible disease and save millions of lives. Whatever the future of humanity, remember, development is inevitable. You don't need to transplant ostrich legs in order to run faster. People are able to invent artificial prostheses that will improve us, and cyberpunk will reign on the planet. But don't forget that we're all just vertebrates, four-legged, narrow-nosed African mammals, great apes. So be yourself. And as always, thanks for watching.
It is true. You may have a new organ. New organ just dropped. Hog. All right. Well, I don't know a whole lot about new organ just dropped, but let me tell you something. New video game just dropped. Just kidding. Old video game just dropped. We're going back, baby. We're going back to Breath of the Wild, folks.